Hi everyone, Tracy Filter here with Tracy's Ink Spot. Today I'm going to show you a Stamparatus technique that's called Hinge Step, and I've used it to create the background wording on this particular project here. So first off, if you're curious to know, the stamp set I used on this one is called Nothing's Better Than, and that can be found on page 20, and it does come with a complimentary die set. It's called Love You More Than, and that's on page 172. You can cut out words to attach, not the words that are stamped, but separate words. But these images here can be cut out with those die shapes as well. So it's got some that match up perfectly and some that coordinate. And that can be found again, page 20 and 172 of the current annual catalog, which is the May 22 to April 23. All right, so now for the Stamparatus, you can find all the information for that on page 147. This is a tool that allows you to have perfect placement. You can do a lot of things with this tool, especially if it's hard for you to hold the block. Certain things where you want a technique repeated, you didn't quite get the ink coverage you wanted, you can stamp again. Lots of different things you could be doing with this particular placement tool, but it's a really great aid for aligning your impressions along with what you want to be doing. So you can find again all that information on page 147. Okay, so let's get started with the technique itself. So here is our Stamparatus. It does come with two of these plastic plates that are interchangeable. So if I wanted something, I can have stamps on either side. They can go both directions. So depending on what you're doing, you could have everything lined up. If you're going to do a multiple stepped image, boom, 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 you've got everything done. So there's also two very powerful magnets that you use to hold down your piece of cardstock. So you want to be very careful with these. Don't get them too close together because they will just attach to each other. Okay, so for this hinge step, the reason they call this the hinge is because you can see there's these notched parts here. When you have the plate directly up, it comes out and you can clean it, you can add your stamps, you can do whatever. So the trick is here that you want to have that straight up and down when you're going to be ready to put it in. So I've aligned my stamp to be at the edge of my cardstock, and that's why my cardstock is over there where it is. I'm going to grab my Crumb Cake ink pad, and I'm going to show you how I created that line of words. Okay, so I've inked up my cookies, and all you want to do is press wherever your stamp is, lift up, and there's your word. Now you're going to do the same thing again, but you're going to take the plate out, and you're going to move it down a notch. So now instead of being inserted into the first one, it's in the second one. And I'm just going to continue doing this all the way down, like so. So now I move it down one more time. And I'll stop there because it gives you the idea of what I'm doing, okay? So there you go. You've done a series of them down in the row there. And now I'm going to realign my paper because as you can see on my finished sample, I offset the word a little bit each time I did it. So I'm going to adjust my paper over a little bit. I'm just going to eyeball for a second here where I want this to be. I'm not going to let them touch too closely because I don't want to actually put any ink down. But it looks like maybe right about there is where I want that to be. Okay, so flip that back over. I'm going to do, now you'll notice when I took my magnets off, I spent one off to the right and I set the other one off to my left so they had no chance of coming in contact with each other. Okay, let me make sure my paper's pretty straight there. We go. Okay, so same thing. And since I started down, I'm just gonna start there. I don't have to readjust, go back up because I can just push it and go up in the hinging. So you don't have to start at the top position every time. You just need to change them up. All right, and one more for the top. Like I said, just to give you a hint, an idea of how this hinge step works. There you go. So as you can see from my finished project, I did that design all the way down. Then I did stamp another one and just fussy cut it out in a darker color just so it stands off a little bit. I'll have a couple more videos involving this card to show you some tips and tricks for doing some more of the die cutting and placement of the stamps. All right, so thank you for joining me today on this Stamparatus video, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye now.